Yes, inflammation and bleeding has caused it just goes into your lungs, and you're internally bleeding your lungs and other organs. But this is the immune response, or the fact that a lot of your cells can't get through inflamed blood vessels. Some other supplements that I've found are amazing are things like colostrum that are good for hemorrhagic fever. You mentioned Guillain-Barré syndrome, and it's also good for all types of flu. Oleuropein, which is from olive leaf extract, is even anti-anthrax, and it's antiviral against all the viruses against which it has yet been tested. It's antifungal, antibacterial. It even kills the bacteria that can survive in the presence of oxygen, or that could survive in the presence of ozone. There are other things like golden seal root. You mentioned the garlic, Allison, that Dr. Deagle mentions a lot, the supplement that he sells or has available. That's the active constituent of garlic. And you mentioned the oregano oil. And, oh, by the way, a lot of these supplements kill the natural flora in your bacteria, so you might want to supplement with things like probiotics, yogurt, kefir, unpasteurized milk and yogurt, because it'll kill off the good bacteria. But then again, an oxygenating supplement will help those good bacteria survive.
Well, listen, speak of the devil. We got Dr. Deagle coming up for you in about 15, 20 minutes to pop in with a quick 5-minute report. Let's go to Ken in Schertz, Texas. You're on the air. Thanks for holding.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for taking the call. Let me give you a little rundown of what's been going on out here. Thursday afternoon, as it were, they were calling everybody in this area with a recorded call saying that they had confirmed 2 cases of swine flu at Steele High School, which is in Cibolo. Well, then they closed Steele down on Friday. Well, then it followed up with a letter we got Saturday from the school district saying what had happened. About 3 hours ago, they called again, and now they've closed down all the schools in Cibolo, Schertz, and Universal City. Now, of course, you know that all this sits right outside the front gate of Randolph Air Force Base. And I don't have any news on that, but they have a high school on the base there, and I'm sure they got an elementary school. So I don't know what else is going on there, but there's
well, the last 2 swine flu epidemics broke out on U.S. military bases and were genetically engineered. That's clear, designer viruses. So and then they had a quote forced inoculation program in '76 for it, but it killed so many people that they had to stop it because people refused to take it. So you watch, folks are lining up already just to get the regular flu shot, which has no connection to this flu. And it'll just run down your immune system, but they don't care. They want to believe there's a magic bullet for all of this.
Well, yeah, on the national news, I think it was Friday, they said that there's no vaccine for this flu. So, I don't know. I don't believe in flu shots. I haven't had one in 20 years.
Listen, my mother was never sick, but she was getting ready for a triathlon years ago, like a decade ago. She took a flu shot and it almost killed her. And they admit the smallpox shot, the flu shots, actually gives people, in many cases, flu and smallpox and anthrax. They gave it to the troops, killed a bunch of them. These vaccines are dangerous, folks. They grow them in dead monkeys and dead babies, and even the seed stock, when they grow them on egg whites, the original seed stock from where the pathogen came from was grown on dead monkeys or dead humans 9 times out of 10. So there's all those other viruses and human DNA involved, cancer viruses. Google vaccines and cancer viruses. I can't believe folks don't know about this. Almost every major vaccine line out there is filled with viruses that cause cancer. And no wonder cancer's way up. These vaccines are deadly, period.
I agree.
All right, buddy, I really appreciate your call, Ken. Good to hear from you. Medical doctor Bill Deagle, because I've interviewed him before about the bird flu and how it's engineered, and other doctors and scientists and virologists have looked at it and said that it's that they're hyping and building an infrastructure for population reduction through it. But specifically, Dr. Deagle, I said some quick questions for you, and I appreciate you coming on the show today briefly. Looking at this, and I've talked to some other doctors and people, they're saying that if it's a regular mutation, it shouldn't be bird, pig, and human showing up right at once, because they would have been tracking different strains of bird human flu, pig human flu before they merge. And this is a merger of those that don't follow any original kind of evolutionary original chain. And then expanding on that if it was an isolated mutation, say in a sewage yard or a agricultural honeypot, say in central Mexico, that it would have mutated by the time it went through different generations of people and would have been made harmless or a variant. But to have the same strain popping up all over the world simultaneously points towards not just that it's designer, but that it was actually transferred and vectored in an unnatural way, not just via airlines and tourism around the planet. What do you say to that?
Yeah, it makes total sense. If you look at veterinarians in Ohio, and this is reports that are just recent, 20% carry swine flu antibodies in their blood, 5% of pig farm workers. So it's not uncommon. In fact, pig flu doesn't usually kill pigs. The fact that this contains, it's like a steamer trunk on the genetics of the virus with different stamps for the locations where it's been. It means that the virus has Asian genes, avian genes, it has human genes, and it has pig flu genes, which means it comes from a lab. The fact that it already has the lethality that exceeds the normal flu means that it has lethal genes in it, so it means that it's acquired some of the genetics of, in all probability, the H5N1, which otherwise would never probably affect humans. Because until a few months ago, it couldn't even grow at less than 106 degrees. It also couldn't attach to human cells because it missed a number of amino acids that allows it to bind to the binding domain. So this virus is the bridge, in a sense, to create a new avian swine flu reemergence. And even if this one passes out in a week or two, people should not put their guard down. This is, without any doubt, a release by the globalists that want to set the stage and insert in the chamber, in the cake, and it's called the first phase. You insert this into the gene populations, the virus spreads. Even if it dies down, it's going to then recombine in the wild. That's called the bioreactor incubation phase.
Let me back you up on that, Doctor. It's up on Drudge. It's up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Reuters has the quote from her press conference, and I've been looking for the YouTube, but Reuters has it. Janet Napolitano, the head of the federal takeover of America, known as Homeland Security, she is saying that even if this burns out in the next few weeks, get ready for another big pandemic soon. And then they point at exactly what you just said. So not only will some of these variants mutate into harmless, you're saying some of it's going to mutate into even more deadly?
Yeah, there's three major gene issues that are present in the H5N1 worldwide. Number one, it's become resistant to Tamiflu or Oseltamivir, which is the oseltamivir is the drug, of course, which the former members of the Bush administration had shares in. It is sensitive to that, according to their at least initial strains, if it's all one strain. But there's three changes. Firstly, in the Pt.4 gene, there's a gene deletion in the H5N1 that makes it completely bypass the immune system, so it is more lethal by 30 times than the 1918 swine flu. It has a polybasic amino acid on the H gene, which we're going to find out in the next few days or weeks what the genetics are. If it has 6 polybasic amino acids, it means it acquired it from the H5N1. And then there's an NS1 gene change, which also makes it far more lethal. So if even just these three changes are present, we now know, besides the 5 amino acids on the binding domain, if those are present, which we know this new swine flu does have them, it's going to acquire the lethal genes in the wild because millions of birds all over the world are dying, including, I'm getting reports from British Columbia, Washington State, Oregon State.
No, we've got, Doctor, I'm sure you know, we've got mainstream articles about pigs all over the U.S., entire herds of pigs on pig farms, all dying, birds dying, and cows dying, which I don't understand.
Yeah, and this can, by the way, leap into cattle farms. I'm going to be on some other radio shows here this week. It's very dangerous because this can leap into cattle herds, wild animals. When it emerged after a few years ago in China near Xinjiang, which is an old nuclear site in North China, it actually in the Qinghai Game Reserve and got into surrounding communities within several hundred miles. The Chinese policy was a scorched earth policy. They literally came in and killed everything: animals, humans, everything. I have reports out of China that their approach was, we're going to completely stomp this out before it.
But is it right to say this is a super virus? Because
well, it is. And the thing is, even if it doesn't emerge this time, it's going to come back. And
well, what do you mean doesn't emerge? I mean, it's clearly airborne, human to human.
Oh yeah, but I mean,
why do we see? Do you think we're having cover-ups of the real deaths in Mexico? Because I'm getting call after call from Mexico City that it's just people are sick all over.
Well, my guess is that the lethality right now is somewhere between 3 and 8 to 10%. But no matter how it is right now, it means that the virus is spreading very efficiently in humans. It's also probably getting into animal populations, and that means that it's inserting the genes where it's going to come back in weeks or months.
But what does it mean that they're saying the same virus is all over the world now in just a matter of this time? And I mean, if it went through all these humans to mutate, it would have already been a different virus, correct? Or is that?
Oh, there's a lot of no, because it can travel so quickly. In the time of the steamer ship, it traveled around the world in a matter of months.